3 plugins to take your stereo mix from this to this. I don't know about you, but I got so tired of spending hours mastering a song. And that's because you follow all these steps and stacks of plugins that you see right here on YouTube, only to end up with lackluster results. No more of that. Because in this video, I'm going to show you how to master a song and get those professional results that you want by using only 3 plugins. And the crazy thing is, you already own them. Plugin number 1, an EQ. I use a transparent EQ because this is my tool for those final sculpting touches. I've already done all of my mid, side, and tonal EQing on my mix bus. So for my master EQing, I just have this here to tweak frequencies, masking that might come to surface when I bring up the overall level of the song. Now, when mastering a song, it is important to use a transparent EQ because it allows you to make precise adjustments to the frequency balance of the track. It's going to ensure that all the elements of the mix are sitting in the right place, creating a clear and balanced sound that's pleasing to the ear. Now, the stock EQ for Pro Tools is a very transparent EQ, and it's going to allow you to make the adjustments without adding any color or character to the sound. This is important because you want to maintain the integrity of your mix that you've worked really hard on creating during the mixing process. If you're liking these kind of tips and techniques, then make sure that you check out my free guides. There's some on recording, mixing, mastering, custom drum samples. I've even got a guide on how to make an income from your music. You can download all of them just by clicking on the link in the description or going to my website at fairairmusic.com and clicking on the free guide tab. Plugin number 2, a limiter. In this case, we're using the Pro Tools Maximizer for our limiting. When mastering a song, it's important to ensure that the final mix is at a consistent volume level. However, simply turning up the volume on a mix can lead to clipping and distortion, things like that, which can negatively impact the sound quality. This is where the limiter comes in. A limiter is a plugin that sets a maximum volume threshold for the mix. Any sounds that exceed this threshold are automatically reduced in volume to ensure that the final mix doesn't go over a certain level. Now, by using a limiter, you can increase the overall volume of the mix without sacrificing the sound quality. It's going to allow you to achieve a consistent, loud, and clear sound that's perfect for radio play, streaming, and other platforms. So in order to achieve a certain level of volume on your master, a limiter is an essential tool, which is why all DAWs come with a stock maximizer or limiter. So in Pro Tools, I'm using the Maximizer to do my limiting. I've got a ceiling of -0.5. Sometimes I'll go to 0.3, but somewhere around there is usually where I'm aiming for. And this is just so that we're not clipping. Once you've set your ceiling, you're just going to bring your threshold down to increase the volume, which leads us to our third and final plugin, a metering plugin. Now, this is a really cool metering plugin. I don't really care for the stock one that comes with Pro Tools, but this U-Lean loudness meter is great and it's free. You've got a lot of cool information that it gives you here, and I really just kind of like the whole layout and color of it. When mastering a song, it's important to ensure that the overall loudness level is consistent and appropriate for the intended listening environment. This is where a metering plugin that shows the LUFS levels can be very helpful. LUFS levels are a standardized way of measuring perceived loudness, taking into account the entire audio signal rather than just the individual peaks. By using a metering plugin that displays the LUFS levels, you can ensure that your track is at the appropriate loudness for its intended purpose. So for example, if you're mastering a track for streaming services such as Spotify or Apple Music, it's important to know where your levels are going to be and how much they're going to be turning that down once your song is uploaded to their specific platform. So by using a metering plugin that shows the LUFS, you can easily make adjustments to the overall loudness of your track to ensure that these meet the standards. As you can see on this loudness meter here, I like to aim for around 10. Between 10 and 12, depending on the track, is where I like to be. I feel like that's at a competitive level with everything else. So what I like to do is kind of have all three of these up. And if it is something that's lower, like this was a mix that was at around -14. It is something that I didn't mix, but it sounds pretty good. It just needs the volume to be brought up a little bit and just give it that little radio excitement. And what I mean by that is just bringing up a little bit of the high end. It sounded kind of good at the default 6. I'm not trying to stress over this stuff. It brought some air back. The Q on this is wide. So you're getting anywhere between 5 and looks like, a little bit up into 10. So nice opening up there. Also opened up the mid a little bit just because I wanted to balance everything out. It's got kind of a heavier bass sound to it. So I just clicked the high pass filter in at its default setting. It thought it cleared up. I thought it just slightly tightened up the low end, the bass just a little bit better. And where there was just a little bit of haze, just a little bit of it's almost like a low end kind of whistly sound. It's more of a that gets added in to this area in the lows here, maybe low mids. And I just took that out a little bit, probably a little bit more. I'm not doing a whole lot of cuts or boost at high gain volumes because I've already done all that. And hopefully you have too in your mix. So I just kind of listen to it and maybe I turn it up a little bit if I think it needs to be a little bit higher volume. So I will go ahead, turn it up so I can get a good listen to it. And then I'll go through the EQ here. So let's just take a listen to that. I'll push this up so you can hear. It's right in the guitars. It's just more of like almost like a growling, like a. See if you can hear that. Taking it out, clears it up, but I want to pull it out some. So let's just see. So you can see how that clears it up. It's the same thing with the high pass filter. See how it kind of flattens out a little bit? This tightens everything up in that area. And it also kind of helps the guitars come through a little bit better. And then for the tube boost, to me, I first go with that high end to open it up. So let's listen and see what that's doing. It helps spread things out, but not in a way that we would put a widening plugin on there. That's another thing that gets brought up a lot. Stop with all the widening. I mean, it's going to take away from the excitement of your song. It's going to take away from the actual realness of it. It's just not, it's almost, if things are too wide, it's almost like you're listening to a track like behind you instead of in front of you and hearing the elements from the left and the right at a balance. Really helps bring that acoustic guitar through too. And then this one, this mid, a little bit more than 1.5K here. This was just kind of to help that vocal come through just a little bit better and be at a balance with the opening of the high end. To me, that's what gives it a really nice, quote, radio quality about it, where it's just everything's balanced, nice and balanced. Everything is at a good level, and the vocal is coming through. Not that it sits on top of the track. We don't want that. We don't want it to sound like a karaoke track. Perfectly in place, just poked out just a little bit. Just a little bit. You see these moves? Each of these, there's just barely anything going on. So next thing that I would do, just take a minute to listen to that, be like, okay, that sounds ready to me. So now if I need to pull it down a little bit more, then bring up the volume and the threshold on either a limiter or the maximizer here, then I'm looking at my levels. And if you notice, we're at minus 10 LUFS. You don't hear any distortion. It's not even clipping. I mean, look at the peak. Look down here. We're only half a dB like over the peak that it's actually like compressing. Just notice this down here. And we've got a great volume, a competing level, and we're not clipping. We're barely even having our go over our ceiling here. That's how you use all three of these plugins to work together to get a great mastered sound. Remember, mastering, what we're doing is we're getting it to the right levels, and whether maybe we need to do that individually for something, if you're doing something for film, or if you're doing just something for streaming, or if you're going to be putting that on an MP3, put it on a CD player. There's a little bit more involved in that, and I do recommend some dithering on that, but only when you're changing the format. I'm going to be printing this at a WAV file. This is what the mix is. The mix is a WAV. I'm going to print the master as a WAV, so I don't need to do any of that stuff. And you probably don't either, because most of the time you're just going to be putting that on streaming. But if that's something you are interested in the dithering, what exactly is that, why you would use it, when you would use it, and what it's all for, let me know in the comments, and maybe I'll make a video about it. So there you have it, 3 essential plugins that you can use to master your song and achieve a professional sound. Hope you found this video helpful, and if you have any questions or comments, please let me know in the comment section below. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button for more music production tips and tutorials. Thanks for watching, y'all. I'll see you in the next one.